Hello, guys. This is Evan with Political Breakdown, and I'm going to be talking about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., just as I had promised. This video is coming out about a day later than I would have preferred, but it's fine. So, first of all, we're going to look at the RCP average. We're going to first look at when you factor in more third parties and then go to just simply a three-way race, which I doubt that any of the other candidates will really pull much away from Kennedy anyways, though there's a chance that they pull some away. So as you can see here, he is at 13.4% in the aggregate, and that's with a fairly unfavorable poll from Emerson most recently, um, showing that he as a third party is only getting 7% of the vote, though most of the other polls that we see here have him at about 14-ish%. That 7% is really dragging his numbers down. I feel like they could probably, if it weren't the newest poll, they could probably ignore it. But that does mean that there is some potential issues in the future as far as how much he's actually going to get of the electoral vote. Um, that being said, it's also still quite a few months out, meaning he could still get more. He could end up with what it looks like in just a three-way race with Biden, Trump, and Kennedy, where he has 16.8% in the aggregate. I don't know how much I believe in this, and I feel like the reason why this poll is so much different is just because then people are questioning, hey, how much do I know about these other candidates, Jill Stein, Cornel West, and so then they are less willing to say a specific candidate, though overall there's about the same amount of turnout in that. So have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, as you sort of expect with third party candidates. Though he has had the most amount of media coverage, and you can sort of see that quite clearly when you look up RFK Jr., you get a lot of information. So let's, look at just the four that show up that are within the past 2 days. So we've got um, MSNBC over here talking about um, RFK Jr. in some sort of recent poll has overtaken Trump and Biden when it comes to young voters. That is sort of making sense, being that young voters are the most likely to go out and vote third party because they still have not at least completely fallen for the lie discussed in the previous videos. I'm not going to get too far into that. Go and watch those, and you'll be able to tell a little bit more about what I'm talking about, especially the videos titled Why You Should Vote Third Party. Um, so, yeah, this sort of goes over why he's doing a lot better. First of all, he's got that Kennedy name recognition, and then you also got, he's not 80 years old. that that's a pretty big deal when you're up against two 80-year-old candidates, and that just sort of appeals more to the young voter base. Him being an independent, the Kennedy name recognition, because as we're taught in school, the Kennedys are, just simply famous. And the previous Kennedy president that we had, JFK, he was taken from us too soon. So there we go on that. Sorry about that. I'm on a laptop now, Hoo-hoo. Anyways, then there's also the news article from USA Today regarding the Super Bowl ad. I did not watch that ad during the Super Bowl. I must have missed it. Um, and it's sort of been interesting to see how he has apologized. I feel like the votes that he would typically steal away from Trump will be affected by that apology, just knowing how things typically go with Trump type of voter base. So that's not really faring too well, but we'll see sort of where that all goes. Um, Now, as for The other two, I do not really know exactly what they're going to go on about. Okay. Sort of looks like he's talking about um, Nikki Haley because she's in the Republican primary. She gets Secret Service, but it sounds like maybe he isn't getting it, and he's not too happy about that. Um, and then, all right, I don't know if I know this particular issue. Oh, we aren't going to go onto the YouTube. We aren't going to watch a YouTube video about that. I will instead bring us over to his campaign website. So, first of all, you can, if you feel the need to, you can declare your independence, as he states right there. Um, and he gives a little slogan of what little things that he wants to do. So, in the forever wars, he doesn't want to have wars in, Afghanistan, the Middle East more broadly. I don't know his particular take on Israel, but judging by that, he does not want to find either side of the war. Clean up the government, so he wants to reduce government spending or in some way sort of reduce the impact of the government. We'll have to look at his exact policies to understand that better. Um, Increase wealth for all, so he just wants to, have that rising tide that lifts all ships, and tell Americans the truth. So let us. Ooh, he's got quite a bit, huh? It's going to take a little bit to go through all of his. This might end up being a little bit of a two-parter. So let's go to the cost of living. Okay. So, all right. Overall, he's just simply talking fairly broadly. Um, Here's where we'll actually see a little bit more of what he wants to do. He wants to make the minimum wage $15. That would be absolutely fine. I mean, most places you aren't going to really be getting paid less than $15 an hour, anyways. So I don't know how much that actually affects inflation in the real world. Um, Even though, people always say in theory, hey, this is gonna raise inflation. I don't think that I've worked a job that pays $15 an hour in more than 4 years, or read about 4 years. So I don't know how much of an important topic that is. Um, he doesn't want union busting to be legal. That's absolutely good. It should not be tolerated at all. Right now, even though it's sort of on the legal side of things, it's still tolerated pretty heavily. Um, then we've got expand free childcare to millions of families with pioneer with programs that like that pioneered by the state of New Mexico. I am not super familiar with New Mexico's um, politics as of recently. I do have family down there, so I really should know. However, I suppose actually I might. More my last family member who lived there actually recently moved, so never mind. I do not have family down there. He's actually got um, what, a 4-year old son, and yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, okay. So, hmm, looking it up on my phone, it's a pretty interesting program. I'll have to read more into it to sort of give my full thoughts, but that's an interesting program right there. Drop housing costs by 1,000 per family and make home ownership affordable by backing 3% home mortgages with tax-free bonds. That is an interesting. I don't fully understand how that would affect the economy. Um, hmm. Uh, I mean, if it actually does end up helping the housing prices, that would allow many more millennials who have been complaining about being able to buy houses to be able to buy houses, and that would be pretty cool. Uh, Sort of just skim through the rest here. Okay, so I don't see much of how he's going to affect the. Yeah, I'm not seeing much about how he's going to lower national debt really here, other than cutting forever wars. He is saying how he's going to pay for all these new programs that he wants, which is good. Um, it is by cutting the forever wars, though, which I am for, but I just don't know if that would quite pay for all these things that he's talking about. All right, let's see here. Hmm. That is a shocking stat. Um, I was not too politically aware in 2008, but I did know of the housing crash, and that is astonishing. If that's true, I would have to double check it, but I would not doubt it. Um, since 21, it's been quite the med- meteoric is probably even downplaying it a little bit. It's been quite the rough economy since about 2020, 2021. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, that is quite. That is holy. That is more than 2 times the amount. Huh. All right. All right. Interesting. So, so one of the main things that I find interesting in this is the zoning changes. That is something I've heard quite a bit of talk about, at least within the past couple of years, and I am still not exactly certain how I feel about it, but I am at least cautiously for it. Um, I'm at the very least not not for it, you know, but I'm cautiously optimistic about what that could end up doing for housing prices and the economy in the long run. So I'm glad that he is at least bringing attention to that one. That is cool. Now let's see here. Honest government. Let's let's do let's do higher education. I think that's going to be a good spot to end this video off for this time. Though next time I would love to go over the other parts. Just let me know if you would like to go over them in the comments below. So, yep, we've got student loan debt um, talks. That's good. So, one of the most interesting things is um, we've actually had quite a few different ways that we have tried to better refinance student loans. I know that because my parents are probably, well, because my dad's going to be forever paying off student loans. Um, but yeah, they've gotten a lot better than they used to be. The interest rates are not as bad as when we had those. What was it? Fannie Mae, was that one of the programs? They aren't as bad as they used to be, which is not saying a lot, but it's a step in the right direction. Um, and I would love to see some of these policies enacted to better allow us to actually be able to afford college if we are wanting to go to college. That's for the younger people in general. But that has to do it for this video, and I will add on to this in the next video in a part 2. Evan with Political Breakdown, bidding you adieu.